All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Hello, everybody. Hello, 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 and thank you for keeping our rendezvous on the football trio. My name is Nico, and I'm here to talk to you today about bronze medal. Let's give it up for South Africa, people. Give it up for South Africa. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, we need it, we need it. All right, so we're not down to just the final game. We know who is placed third. Now we just have to figure out who is first and second. But before we do that, before we preview the finals, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for keeping the rendezvous. I just want to remind you, please share the link so that we can get a few more folks on the stream. And of course, like and subscribe to our channel so that you can get the notifications whenever we come on live and want to talk about football. Again, this is the Football Trio, episode 1.19. Man, it's been so long. We've done 19 episodes already. All right. Well, as always, I am joined by two other very, very smart football savants, if I can call them that, savants. Yeah. Football encyclopedia in human form, none other than Ajab. How are you, sir? Ajab, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. All right. To his right or my left, he's joined by the analyst, the person who dissects every single action of play in the 90 minutes and beyond. Let's say welcome to Tru3lion. Hello, Tru3lion.
Hello.
That's all you're gonna say? Hello.
Happy weekend. How you guys doing? I'm fine. I'm fine. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Doing good. Doing good. DR Congo. You predicted this. You said DR Congo didn't have the goods to carry it all the way, but they're fourth, just like they were in 2017, right? Because I remember Cameroon beat them to become third in that tournament. And no, I might wait.
No, Cameroon won the finals in 2017.
In 2017, I'm sorry.
Ghana,
Yes,
Ghana beat them.
yeah, Ghana beat them to
Ghana
become.
beat them. Yeah.
See, I've obfuscated this Cameroon Ghana thing so much that I'm confused. I am anymore. Anyways, that's okay. That's fine. Thank you for catching that for me, Ajab. That's why you're the encyclopedia. Um, Gentlemen, penalty shootouts. The game went all the way to the end, 0-0. Nothing impressive there. I was a little surprised that it went straight to penalties, though. I thought there was going to be a prolongation. Then I realized it's a bronze medal game. Nobody wants to stay on there forever and ever and just follow the game. So they went straight to penalties, and I was hoping for William to come through. I mean, he did come through somehow. Of course, he kept South Africa in the game throughout the 90 minutes with some amazing saves and play. What is your take, guys? What is your take on this game today? Is it really meaningful? What do these players take from this, if anything at all, and how does it affect them as they prepare for the World Cup qualifiers going forward?
Both teams didn't play like it was a medal game, like they were fighting for a medal. Even from the setups, the formations, or the lineups, you could see that they rested lots of players. It didn't look like both teams were they approached the game like even you could see South Africa celebrate that they won the game. That they set up the formation, the energy, the intensity in the game was just like if we win, fine. If we don't win, fine. That's how I looked at the game. They didn't show any presence, any intensity, like, oh, this is a game we need to take this medal back home. Yeah, none of the teams. And by some point, towards the end of the game, Congo showed up more than South Africa, even. And
Okay.
let's say the South Africa, Congo created more like real scoring chances than South Africa in the entire game. So, but
Well,
at least
that
South Africa left, at least they went back home with the bronze medal. So at least it's good. Hugo Bros has his second medal in his second AFCON. So,
That's right. But to say, like you said, South Africa had a lot less shots, maybe less than half shots,
mhm.
total number of shots that Congo had. And of course, like you said, Congo took the game to them. 13 shots today in total, five big chances created, versus South Africa's six shots and one chance created. True Lion, do you want to get in on the action here? I mean, what are your thoughts about the game? Did South Africa really come? Did they really deserve to win it in the end?
Well, it just proved to us how sloppy these two teams are offensively. I mean, I saw some of the chances that they missed and all that. There was lack of concentration. It was as if they were just playing amongst themselves and not valuing the moment of being able to claim a medal. So it was poor finishing. But yes, of course, South Africa went to the penalties, and and Williams was actually able to stop some penalties there. So they deserve winning it. I'll look at it that way.
Man, I want us to come back to thoughts about the game. Player of the match. Player of the match. I have a name here. Joris Kayembe Ditu. What's to say of this? The coach of DR Congo actually started a bunch of players we have not seen throughout the tournament.
Mhm,
Even South Africa, Hugo Bruce made some changes. The lineup
yeah.
was a little bit different. Was it just a situation where they're giving players an opportunity to shine, or really just a situation where they're like, well, there's not much we can take from this game, as you guys have stated. We just anything happens, let it happen. If anything happens, well, we take it and go home with it.
Well, I guess it's actually you have to give your whole team. They have 27 players. Some of them had not played, so it's very important to give them something to hold on to. So starting players that have not started so far this tournament was actually very important for the team moving forward.
Okay. All right, that's good. Good. Ajab, thoughts? Do we have a revelation yet in this tournament? I mean, the game today, did you see anything, anybody there that you think can maybe sign for Chelsea to rescue them this season or something?
Mm, no, no, no. This game today, I don't see any revelation. No one actually really stood out, even though the Kayembe guy
Hmm.
came in. I think it's his first game playing. Normally, he plays left back where Maswaku has been
That's what.
playing all season, all
That's
all tournament. So he came in today. He didn't have a bad game, but he didn't stand out. He's one of those players. If he didn't mention, I know I saw the Kayembe, but it's not one of those guys that if you asked me before mentioning his name, that who stood out, I would say Kayembe. No. Yeah, I don't think he really stood out that much that I could say he was. I didn't notice any individual performance today from the game. Like I said, it was just two teams playing. Like, okay, we selected some players. They're not playing for the club side now. They're representing the country. Now it's a chance to at least have them play for their country. So let's give them the chance. I think that's how both coaches or both teams approached the match.
okay. All right, so now we've talked about third place. Enough of third place. I don't even think that Sky showed how they got the medal. When the penalties ended, Sky went on to a league game or something that they wanted to show. But let's jump into the main course of today's event, today's stream. Right, the finals that is happening tomorrow. It's supposed to be a blockbuster final, like because I think for the first time in almost 70 years, Ivory Coast and Nigeria facing off in an AFCON final, you know, and we already know how historic the event itself is, an AFCON final, right? Because a title for Ivory Coast, for example, would just complete the tale of extraordinary resurgence and just seal that back from the dead type storyline. And for Nigeria, from the get go, everybody thought Nigeria was a bang on favorite, and so we're really looking for them to reaffirm their dominance, and actually carry on. And this sets us up for a very palpable performance or display of talents tomorrow in this final. So I'm really excited, looking forward to it. If anything, we are sure that the AFCON has been nothing short of drama, and I am pretty sure tomorrow will be drama filled. It will be a drama filled day with the hosts themselves in the finals, and of course, favorites to win AFCON. The AFCON favorites to win Nigeria. What are your thoughts, gentlemen? Let's get into it. Let's preview the game for tomorrow. What are your thoughts?
For me, I don't think when I look at Nigeria and look at her path to the finals, it tells me something. They've been effective defensively. They've not created as many opportunities as I would have thought. They've actually squeezed themselves into the finals, believe it or not.
Mhm,
Because when I look at the teams, let me say, if I look at two teams that Nigeria have beaten, that way, let's say good teams, I think about Angola and maybe South Africa, right?
mhm,
But on the other hand, when I look at Ivory Coast, they've beaten Mali and Senegal. For me, those were the two best teams in this tournament. When I think about it, Mali and Senegal. When I look how balanced they were, let's say Mali was not as clinical as Senegal, like finishing, but I think Senegal was the team that could defend and to score many, many goals, spread out the team. Nigeria needs to play better against Ivory Coast. A lot of people say Nigeria are favorites. I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way. They are not convincing. They are not finishing opportunities. They are not creating as many opportunities. Yeah, so it's gonna be a tight final.
okay. There's something, definitely. There's something to say about Ivory Coast and the way they have made it through to get to where they are. Right. Like, I don't think anybody can say none of these teams deserves to be here in the final. But Ajab, what is your take on this? Like, when you look at these two teams, how do you see this playing out tomorrow? How do you think each team approaches this game? And what do we expect to see? What do you expect to see tomorrow when these two teams step out on the field?
True Lion made a valid point about the opponents, but I don't really want to pay attention to that so much because Ivory Coast eliminated Senegal and eliminated Mali, who were like favorites, who looked like teams that could get right to the later stages of the competition, but for some reason they didn't get there. But when you look at the South Africa team too, they were eliminated. They eliminated Morocco, who was also like a favorite, right?
Hmm.
And then who was like one of the favorites of the competition. Something I noticed about Nigeria against South Africa is that they try to play high line. They try to play the high line. And when you play the high line, you need to ensure that you have a very compact midfield that will not allow the opponent's midfielders to get hold of the ball because they'll be able to pick those passes. So that's why South Africa was able to give Nigeria a little bit of problems. But I don't see South Africa. I don't think the Ivorian team is as organized and cohesive like the South African team. So I don't see them giving Nigeria that much problem as a unit. It might be individual brilliance that may have um, 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 uh, Ivory Coast disturb Nigeria a little bit. I see Nigeria more as a unit than the Ivorian team. Yeah, Nigeria has not been impressive because of the Nigeria we know, loaded with talents. They've not been impressive. They've not played the football most fans want to. But so, if I also think that if they wanted to play the way we want, maybe they will not be where they are today. So for me, I think it's going to be a tense. It's going to be a good finals, but I still think that against Angola, Osimhen had a goal ruled out by VAR for offside. Against South Africa, he got another goal ruled out for VAR by VAR. That turned out to be a penalty for South Africa. I think tomorrow is going to be third time lucky for Osimhen. I see Nigeria winning 2-0.
That's a very bold prediction there. Um, when we look at the way the journey, I just want to set this up a little differently. The way I come with the question, you guys touched on these points, right? Each the way each team got here. You talked about how Ivory Coast has not really, they have needed an extra bit of luck to get here. And I just want to quickly point out Ivory Coast beat Guinea-Bissau 2-0 on opening day. They lost to Nigeria 1-0, right?
Mhm.
The next day. And then they lost to Equatorial Guinea 4-0 the very next day. But like Tru3lion said, they were able to muscle out Senegal in the penalty shootouts and then needed that last gasp effort to beat out Mali in like the 120th minute of extra time.
Okay.
And then, of course, very much less impressive but more academic. They beat out DR Congo in the semis 1-0. So we have seen a resurgence in Ivory Coast, right? Especially with a new coach coming in and everything. So uh, do you really think tomorrow they're not going to have the goods to score at least a goal? Because you're saying Nigeria is going to beat them 2-0. And when we look at Nigeria, on the other hand, Nigeria, who did Nigeria beat? Nigeria, of course, tied with Equatorial Guinea on the first day. They beat Cote d'Ivoire and then beat, was it Mali? No,
Mhm.
Guinea-Bissau.
Mhm.
Guinea-Bissau 1-0, and then they beat Cameroon 2-0, of course, and then Angola. So when they faced South Africa, it was a tie and it went to penalties. So when you look at the way Nigeria has played, they have scored in every single game since they've been in the tournament. We know they're going to score because they do have that dynamic attack. But is it fair to say they're not going to concede against an Ivory Coast team that has like resurfaced and like they've literally come back from the dead and they're playing like a really well tuned motor?
Is that me or?
Any of you? It's actually to any of you.
Well, let me actually uh, uh, start with what Ayab actually said. Ayab said that he sees Nigeria beating Ivory Coast 2-0, which I don't see that happening because when you look at even the game Ivory Coast played against Nigeria, Ivory Coast created more opportunities. Ivory Coast had more possession of the ball, and Ivory Coast did not have Sebastian Haller on their side, which means that they could not attack Nigeria with the height because Nigeria has some tall defenders. However, Hala is coming back, and when I saw the way South Africa played Nigeria, going those balls across the top, they did not have that striker. South Africa did not have that striker to run against Nigeria's defense. Ivory Coast does have that striker. And for Nigeria to be able to beat Ivory Coast 2-0, it means they have to be clinical. They have been creating in that game against Ivory Coast, they had one shot on target. And I
Very
guess
good.
that was the penalty they scored.
Mhm.
So without that penalty, they had zero shot on target. You see what I'm coming from?
That's
So for me, I don't see that 2-0 happening.
and that was
However,
also the game. That was also the game in which Osimhen had that howler where he missed the ball, the net completely. Right?
You know, that was
no, no, that was
Thursday.
not that game.
That
That
was
was
Okay.
not
Thursday. He missed the goal to the first goal, but it wasn't a shot on target. It was
So
over the bar against
yeah.
the beginning of the match.
Guinea-Bissau
Yeah,
and
the
Yeah.
pass
Equatorial.
from
Okay.
Chukwueze. Yeah.
All right.
So
Finish your thought.
for Nigeria to be able to win, I think Oshimen has to play his best game in the African Nations Cup, which means he must score. And that's the way I look at it. If Osimhen doesn't score tomorrow, Ivory
Mm.
Coast is gonna win. Ivory Coast is gonna beat Nigeria 2-1. That's my prediction.
Oh wow, wow, that's bold.
The
Ajab,
only
do you?
way, the only way for Nigeria to win tomorrow is Oshimen comes good and destroys Ivory Coast.
Like I mentioned, I said it's going to be a third time lucky for Simon, meaning that he's going to score. But I still stand that South Africa gave Nigeria lots of problems. Like I mentioned, it's because of the way they are organized.
Mhm.
Ivory Coast is not that organized from the way I see the way they play is more of individual. Casey takes this and give it to Sekou. Sekou take they run that team thing. That's where I think Nigeria will thrive over Ivory Coast. And I don't think Hala will be that much of an issue in the air against the Ajais and the Basis and the Trustekon. Not that he's not going to win duels, but I don't think he's going to be dominant because those guys are really good in the air as well. And that's what I'm saying. I still stand by it. Okay, yeah, I don't. It's just that I cannot have two score lines. I would have said 2-0 or 3-1, but I still think it's gonna.
Wow,
I don't
that
know.
many
For
goals.
some reason, I just think it's gonna be a two goal different score line. I don't know. I just
Yeah.
have that conviction. Yeah.
I get the feeling that Ivory Coast will be coming into this a little bit more cautious, especially with the fact that they know they played very well against Nigeria and lost the first time out, right, in this same tournament. So they'll
Mhm.
be coming out with not only a target on their backs, but a point to prove, basically, where
Mhm.
they're going to be looking to make up for that mistake that caused them, to lose the second game of the tournament and literally throw their chances in the air because after that, we could tell mentally they were not all there. And that's how they were able to have that demise against Equatorial Guinea, losing 4-0. So the point is the team is mentally reset. They're looking like a completely new outfit.
Yeah.
And I think that might actually be a booster. And this is where we will see the 12-man come into play. There's so much at stake for Ivory Coast. Like four AFCONs, they've AFCON finals they've been to, they've won two and lost two, right?
Mhm.
So this time they're the hosts. They are the ones hosting. So they have a lot more to lose on this. And I think they have a lot more riding on this. And I think that's how they will all approach the game. The emotional element of it, I think this game will be played mostly outside of the field, to be honest. The way the supporters will be reacting to every play, the way the coaches will set up their teams, and how they will come out and play after the first half. Because I think the first half it will be a situation of, okay, I give you a jab here, you give me a jab back. Let's see what you have. We'll try to run down the wing and see if the defenders are paying attention. We'll try a shot from distance, and we'll see if everybody is still intact and keeping their mind focused. And it's actually in the second half that they will come out and play to try to take it to the end. But hey, who is to foresee the future, right? So I'll give it back to you guys. Based on historical fact and the fact that they've already played each other in this tournament, do you think that has a bearing in any way, as to how the coaches will approach this game? Because we know MS Faye is new. He wasn't there, basically, he wasn't the man at the
Yeah.
top.
Yeah.
In his caretaker role now, he's going to approach this game a little differently than the former coach. And
Yeah.
so we expect to see something completely different, no?
Yeah.
Well, I think that if it's gonna be based on the coaches, then Ayam might be right. Nigeria is gonna win because I'm not. I don't see how Faye is gonna outcoach Pesera. Pesera, if you watch his team, if you watch the way Nigeria plays, they are very disciplined. They hardly put a foot wrong on the
Mm,
field. That's how Nigeria plays. My concern with Nigeria is just that they have not been creative enough, and they have not had many opportunities where giving the ball to Osimhen, where I mean, I cannot bail out Osimhen. I cannot keep bailing out Osimhen. This is his time where he needs to come out. Again, I think Ivory Coast will win this, but as I said, because it's a tight game, right?
mhm.
If Nigeria has to win this game, Oshimen will play lights out tomorrow. And when I say lights out, I'm not just talking about affecting the game. I'm talking about scoring. And this can happen because I've not seen where Nigeria has been really good to break down defenses. No, they like doing it in counter attack and stuff like that. But also from corner kicks, free kicks, they can also be very, very dangerous, from corner kicks and free kicks. But it's not been happening due to some reason. I mean, when I watch Nigeria and they will see how they made it to the finals, they just been sneaking through. I mean, if you watch the way South Africa played today, then some of these games when you go watch the game, maybe the next game that the team they beat the play, then you see that okay, this was just a steal. They just sneaked through because maybe the other team could not finish or was not as good. Because if South Africa could finish, I bet you Nigeria would not be in the final in these finals today.
Very true. Ajab, any thoughts on that? Because I think you do make some great points there, Tru3lion, and I like your take on that. Becerra is for sure the more experienced coach here, and his team is really working according to his rhythm. You can see it at every point. When he stands up and makes a change here or two, you see that the play style changes. You see what they're trying to do. So very, 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 very apt and on point on that one. Ajab, go ahead.
Yeah. First, another thing I want to first of all highlight Senegal, the confidence. Right? Ivory Coast, the confidence is too high
Hmm.
for them. First reason that you see they're very confident. It's going to be a good finals. The confidence is high. Ivory Coast, after the third game, they were done. They knew they were done. They needed the last game against between Morocco and Zambia to make it to the round of 16. Once Ivory Coast made it to the round of 16, they were going to play Senegal. The best thing that happened to Ivory Coast was to play against Senegal because Ivory Coast making it to the round of 16 and losing against Senegal wouldn't have been any bad. They wouldn't have criticized the team at all because they knew they were out already. So them beating Senegal, it turned everything to their favor. Now the confidence is like, yeah, because it's like you say, I have nothing to lose, right? Them not making it to the round of 16 would have been very bad. But now that they made it to the round of 16 and they were meeting Senegal, 75%, if 75% would have 75% of football fans, objective football fans will tell you Senegal was going to beat them. And then they go in and beat Senegal, and then their confidence turned into something else. That's how they've been able to get to even beating Mali with 10 people down for about 70 minutes or more. And then now they had I won't say an easy game, but they were very comfortable against Congo. It's still going to be it's going to be, the confidence is going to be high. They're playing in front of the home crowd, the 12 man. But you know, Nigeria, you have as many Nigerians in Abidjan like you have Ivorians. So it's probably, I don't know if but it's like when you're playing at home, you have space for more of your fans than the opponent. So that's probably where they could have more fans on the pitch. But I still, yeah, like Tru3lion said, if Nigeria needs to win, Osimhen needs to show up, not just show up by impacting the game, by actually scoring. And I said it. This is the third time I'll say it again. Osimhen is going to be lucky this third time. Quarterfinals, he had a game ruled. He had a goal ruled out by VAR. Semifinals, he had a goal ruled out by VAR. Finals is the third time. I don't think they're going to rule out. He's going to score a goal tomorrow, at least a goal, and Nigeria is going to win the finals.
All right. Well, True Lion, you heard Ajab. Although he concedes the point that Ivory Coast does have a lot riding on this, but Nigeria, he thinks Nigeria, like you kind of touched on that, Nigeria will just have the last bit of energy to push this through, or the last element to push this through for their in their favor. So um, go ahead, tell me a little bit how what you feel Ivory Coast needs to do in this game to make sure that this stays that this trophy stays in Abidjan.
Their central defensive midfielder, Seri, Casey, and the other midfielder, Fofana,
Fufana.
Hmm.
Okay.
they
Yeah.
can really break those defensive lines on
Okay.
counterattacks and all that, and they can shoot from afar. Those guys need to play at their best. Those three guys need to play at their best. If those three guys can play at their best, they will trouble Nigeria. That's what they need to do. And they need to defend also better. The first 15 minutes, 20 minutes, Ivory Coast needs to focus. If they let Nigeria score early goals, as I've seen other teams score early goals on them, then it's going to be a long day for them. Because Nigeria ain't no joke when it comes to defense. Yes, of course, we have also seen South Africa, Ivory Coast, they know how to suffer. We see that they suffered against Senegal. We see that they suffered against Mali
Ali.
and they finally won, so they also can suffer. But against Nigeria, it's gonna be a different type of suffer. So they need to come out and defend. If they let Nigeria go early and score some goals, because
Mhm.
Osimhen is a player where he creates from. He's the only player in this African Nations Cup that can turn water into wine.
Okay.
And if he does that tomorrow, then Ivory Coast is in deep trouble. In deep
Yeah,
trouble.
yeah,
Yeah.
Nico.
Same question to you, Ajab. Go
Yeah,
ahead. Yeah,
there's
go ahead.
something I didn't mention. I don't know if I'm right, but this is how I noticed it. The
Mhm.
only match that Nigeria has had, the only match I've watched this AFCON that Nigeria has been disturbed, that the backline has been disturbed, like really disturbed, was against South Africa. And I think the reason they were disturbed against South Africa is because Osimhen wasn't 100% fit. Osimhen is the first line of defense for Nigeria. If you look the way Nigeria has been playing since their first game, after the first game against Equatorial Guinea, once they lose the ball, Osimhen starts. Osimhen is the one that prevents the keeper and the back line from feeding the ball to that central defensive midfielder who is like the masterpiece of most teams. That starts the game. So he's the first line of defense. Since he wasn't physically fit, his movement against South Africa wasn't as the previous games. So I think if he's 100% fit, he will be able to prevent Kusunu and Zika from providing those balls to Seri. Because if you notice, Ivory Coast has been very effective when Seri has the ball, when
Yeah,
Seri has that mastery of the ball. He's been very effective. If you notice, Congo disturbed him a little bit. That's why he was even stopped at about 60 or 65 minutes. Because that, okay, look, it's just, I'll just go back to something which is not AFCON. If you watch the Inter Milan versus Manchester City Champions League final last year, Manchester City was not effective as they normally do because Inzaghi had Kanohuglu to man mark John Stones, who's the one who starts the ball for Man City. So if you have someone who will prevent that from happening to Ivory Coast, it's going to prevent Ivory Coast from dominating the game like they will have to dominate the game. So I think if Osimhen is 100% fit, Ivory Coast will not disturb the back line that much because it will prevent they'll now have to resort to long balls or passing the ball to the wing backs to start the game instead from the midfield. So that's just one point I wanted to make. But Ivory Coast, like even though I'm saying 2-0, you could have their good games. You've seen South Africa, Morocco was a good game. It ended 2-0. The scoreline didn't reflect the game. So sometimes 2-0 doesn't mean it's like Nigeria is going to dominate or it's going to be a walk in the park. It's just that I think Nigeria will be able to create some chances. And Ivory Coast, if you notice Ivory Coast, all the games they give the opponents a lot of chances. The opponents have chances. They give the opponent chances to yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so
And I
that's where
think
my problem is. And if you give some teams like Nigeria, even though they've not been clinical, but teams like Nigeria, they might hurt you. And like Tru3lion said, this Ivory Coast suffered against Senegal, Mali. If they allow Nigeria, it's going to be a different type of suffer. Like you said, that's true. Yeah.
very
So
correct, very correct, and I appreciate that point, gentlemen. So I think we all have the cards out on the table here. We're all looking forward to an amazing final tomorrow. There isn't much more we can say at this point except, hey, tune in and watch. Let's watch the game together, and then we can sync up again right after and talk about what we just watched. Um, two things for sure, though. Two things for sure. These teams are going to come out to play, and the AFCON this year has been one of the best ever hosted. And so CAF is doing an amazing job. I think Gary Neville even had a comment about VAR and how African refs have been using it effectively. So there's definitely something the world is learning from the AFCON this year, and I'm very proud to say, this is because we are all African. And Motsepe has been doing an amazing job. We've already sang his praises and given him his flowers. Now, gentlemen, before we go, I want us to quickly check, of course, the comments. See, I saw something in there from Jan Kizito. Hey, Kizito, how are you? He says he would have loved for Ivory Coast to win, but objectively, Nigeria still has an edge. Agreed. But I think the most interesting storyline would be Ivory Coast winning this tournament, right? It will be one of those stories. I cannot imagine someone like a Peter Drury actually commenting on this final at the end, and he will talk how he will wrapping a story about how Ivory Coast was literally out, like the 10 counts in boxing, right? When they're like the 8 and they're about to go to 9, you're thinking your boxer is not going to stand up again. And like Rocky Balboa, he stands up and he's ready to go again. And then he ends up winning it all the way. So that would be an amazing storyline. That's the only comment I have so far on the stream. I'm not sure about Facebook. I didn't get to check. Tru3lion, you want to help me out there before we?
Uh, well, we was talking about the game, the third place game where it says both teams lack finishing. That's
Mhm.
Kizito. He predicted 1-0 in favor of Nigeria. He predicts 1-0 in favor of Nigeria for tomorrow. Ivory
Okay.
Coast are good on the ball, no doubt, but I don't see a single player that can be a threat up front.
Okay.
Sebastian Haller. I agree with Ayab. Ivory Coast doesn't look so much of a threat.
who said that?
That's Kizito. Kizito.
Okay.
Kizito.
Okay.
Okay. So, guys, roller coaster of emotions for the home supporters tomorrow for sure. If they win it, it will be an amazing one. If they lose it, it would even be more daunting on them emotionally. We know that we've ridden this emotional roller coaster together with many of the teams on here. Let's not talk about Cameroon. Side comment. But I just want to ask you guys any parting words for the viewers. Ajab, go.
No, thanks for joining us always. Like you always say, Nico, like I always say, just please keep sharing, subscribe, tell friends about it, to tell their friends about it, and that's how we're gonna grow, and we're gonna keep on providing you guys with good content. So
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Ajab. Thank you. And so glad to always have you on to bring your perspective. Always important. True Lion, parting words.
Okay, yeah, thank you guys. We do appreciate, tomorrow is the D Day. Tomorrow is going to be even more interesting. All good things finally come to an end. So, but we are not ending football.
Yeah.
Okay, we
Okay.
are not ending.
That's what I
We're
wanted to
just talking
say.
about the African Nations Cup, but we'll keep on, having these conversations and growing our football together, our football culture. We have to start from somewhere and put our cultures together. Thanks, guys.
Perfection. Perfection, gentlemen. Thank you again. Thank you so very much. To our viewers, stay tuned, keep staying tuned, keep tuning in. Really, really appreciate your commitment and keeping to the rendezvous. Please make sure you like and subscribe. That's the only way we can get on this algorithm to make sure that we're ranked a little higher in terms of searches and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. We can't say it enough. Again, tomorrow will be an amazing day. Ivory Coast, would they get a third trophy or third star? And I think Nigeria also is looking for a fourth, right?
Yeah.
Nigeria's looking for a fourth star. So we will see how that turns out. And of course, we'll be here to dissect as always and talk about the game. Thank you again. Bye for now. Have a good one.